The night was supposed to be ordinary, just another peaceful ride home under a sky full of stars, but fate had other plans. The open road, usually a place of freedom and calm for the biker club vice president's wife, Anna, turned into the darkest nightmare she had ever lived. The sound of engines roaring, the screech of tires, and the cold laughter of merciless thugs echoed against the silent fields, shattering the fragile peace of the night. Alone and outnumbered, she felt the world closing in around her as fear wrapped around her chest like barbed wire. At that moment, the road didn't feel like freedom anymore. It felt like a trap she would never escape. The attack wasn't just physical. It aimed to break her spirit, her confidence, her identity. The pain, the confusion, the hopelessness, everything hit her at once, and she could only hope someone would come. Someone who still believed the world wasn't all darkness. Writing, if you believe in the power of kindness, second chances, and standing up for those who can't fight for themselves, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to KindHeartsHub. Trust me, you won't want to miss stories like this. Anna had always been strong. She grew up around bikers, engines, and the smell of asphalt under the sun. She was the kind of woman who could fix a carburetor, break up a bar fight, and bake home, made bread in the same afternoon. Her husband, Cody, the vice president of the Iron Wolves Motorcycle Club, loved her for that strength. She wasn't a token biker girl, she was family to every man in that club. The brothers respected her, the prospects listened to her, and the community admired her. She was the kind of woman who never needed a spotlight to shine. However, there are moments in life when even the strongest people break. That night was hers. She had left the clubhouse late after helping clean up after a charity ride event. Cody stayed behind to finish business with a visiting MC chapter. She didn't mind riding home alone. She had done it hundreds of times, but several miles down the road, after turning off the highway into quieter backroads, she noticed headlights behind her. At first, she assumed it was normal traffic, but when the lights stayed too close too long and the vehicle refused to pass even when the road opened, something sank in her stomach. Trouble. She revved her bike, pushed forward, hoping to outrun whatever was behind her. But when a second set of lights appeared, blocking her path ahead, her pulse shot through her body like electricity. Before she could turn, the truck behind rammed her, throwing her off balance. She skidded across the road, her bike sliding away as she tumbled over gravel and dirt. Pain exploded across her body as she came to a stop. The thugs climbed out, masks, boots, the reek of cheap beer and malice. Anna tried to stand, but one of them shoved her back down. They didn't just want her bike. They wanted to hurt someone connected to the club, to make a message bleed into the earth. She was shaking, not from fear alone, but from rage and violation. She clenched her jaw as fists and boots rained on her. The darkness of the night closed around her vision as she screamed into the uncaring sky. No one should have been alone like this. No woman should have been treated as prey. But while Anna lay battered and fading, fate was already turning. Miles away at the clubhouse, Cody was finishing business when one of the prospects noticed that Anna's bike tracker showed no movement. That wasn't normal. Cody checked his phone. No messages, no call. A cold chill ripped through him. His instincts, those instincts sharpened by years on the road, in fights, in deals, told him something was wrong. Cody wasn't a man who panicked, but in that moment, his world narrowed to one thought: get to Anna. He didn't even fully explain to the others. One look at his face was enough. The officers were already grabbing helmets and weapons, prospects scrambling to bikes, engines roaring to life. In less than a minute, every available member of the Iron Wolves was tearing down the highway with the fury of a storm, tires screaming, hearts racing. Cody rode like death itself was chasing him. Back on the roadside, Anna lay barely conscious, the thugs laughing, taking pictures, talking about what message they'd send to the club. She felt her strength draining, tears mixing with dirt and blood. She thought of Cody, she thought of the club, she thought of how she always told them she didn't need protection. She hated the idea of being weak, but now, she prayed someone would come. She wanted to see her husband one more time. She wanted to live. Then she heard it, distant, faint at first, but unmistakable. Motorcycles, lots of them. The thugs froze. One of them cursed, scrambling back toward the truck. But it was too late. The thunder of engines was upon them, headlights cutting through the darkness like knives. Bikes slid to a stop, kickstands dropping, and Cody was off his bike before it even stopped tipping. The look in his eyes wasn't anger. It was something deeper, darker, something ancient. The thugs tried to run, but the club was already on them. For the first time, they understood who they had messed with. The Iron Wolves didn't start wars. They finished them. The night erupted with crashing fists, shouts, and the raw sound of justice delivered not by law, but by loyalty. Fear changed sides that night. Cody was on his knees beside Anna, his hands trembling as he touched her face. She could barely see him, but when she did, she managed a weak smile. She wasn't alone anymore. She wasn't helpless. She wasn't broken. She was loved. The club didn't just rush her to the hospital. They stayed there all night. The biggest, roughest men anyone would ever meet sat in waiting room chairs. Silent, fists clenched, eyes burning with grief and fury. These men who looked so intimidating were holding back tears, blaming themselves, wishing they had protected her sooner. Anna survived, though recovery was slow. Broken ribs, bruises everywhere, stitches marking her skin where she had fought back. But what hurt most wasn't the body. It was the sense of violation, the feeling of weakness she had never known before. She had always been the strong one. Now she felt fragile in a way that scared her, but she wasn't alone. Every day, club members took turns helping at the house. They cooked. They cleaned. They walked her around the yard for physical therapy. They didn't treat her like a victim. They treated her like a sister who was getting back up after being knocked down. The love wasn't loud. It was steady, like motorcycles idling in the background. The kind of loyalty you could lean on without asking. Cody struggled too. He blamed himself. He barely slept, barely ate. But Anna reminded him in quiet moments that this wasn't his fault. Sometimes bad things happen even when good people do everything right. What mattered was what came next. Word spread fast on the biker circuit. Clubs across the state heard what happened, and the Brotherhood responded the way only bikers could, by showing up. When Anna was strong enough to go outside again, she found more than 100 bikes waiting in formation outside her home. Men and women she had never met stood there, engines rumbling in tribute, because no one touched one of their own, and walked away with dignity intact. Anna cried, not from pain, but from the overwhelming realization that kindness wasn't weakness. It was the strongest force in the world when shared by people who believed in loyalty, love, and family not by blood, but by choice. Over time, she healed physically and emotionally, but the real transformation came in what she did next. Instead of letting the trauma silence her, she spoke. She used her experience to help other women in the community, women who had been hurt, abused, attacked, or made to feel small. She created outreach programs, fundraisers, and safety courses, and she turned her pain into purpose. The Iron Wolves supported her every step. They guarded events from a distance, escorted survivors home when needed, and stood silent in the back of community centers while Anna spoke, never taking credit, just being there for someone who had been there for them. She became a symbol of something rare, strength reborn, a spirit unbroken, kindness that refused to be defeated. Writing, if this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to KindHeartsHub. Your support helps us keep telling stories that remind the world that humanity, loyalty, and kindness still exist. Before we end, special request. Please comment below, do you believe that kindness and loyalty can change the world, even in dark moments?